Hey, short sellers, and welcome to Quad S Trading. My name is Simon, and we are live here, and we're going to go over all the trades of last week. And at the same time, if you happen to have any questions, feel free to just ask questions, and we can talk about. I'll answer those questions for you. So, so at Quad S Trading, what we're doing is we're building a Discord exclusively for short selling, and we want to make this as easy as possible. So in our Discord, we have everything more or less you need to learn to trade, to short sell these small caps. So we just launched our alerts. That's for our DV and our EXT strategy. So those two strategies are when we take, well, the DV is a very common pattern where the stock will go above VWAP, under VWAP, above again, close below, take the trade, and then you cover, you let it fade, and you cover either the end of the day, and if the locate is the overnight borrowing fees is not too expensive, you'll cover the next day, because you want that to stock to tank at the open of the next day hours, and you cover around 10:30, 11. Okay, so this is what we've been working on. So it's been working really good. So essentially, you get an alert when the stock is setting up, and then you get an alert when the entry happens. Okay. And we also have our stock analyzer. This here is really cool. You just do /stock, for example, AKAN, and it will pull up all the information that you need to know about the specific stock. We have pretty much all the information you need, country, exchange, market cap, ownership, float, and a short interest. And over here we have a custom dilution, we'll say bot, that pretty much calculates all the dilution for you, because you want to ideally trade stocks with dilution, because that creates a lot of selling pressure, and that's when the stocks will fade near the end of the day. We have our scanners. That's for more or less everything that pops 40% on the scanners, and it comes here, and it automatically gives you everything to know. If you want some news, the dilution, market caps, flow, all that kind of stuff. And it's very quick. So for example, if you have a blue circle, it just means that this news is live today, right? So if you have, for example, something like this is old news. This is news today. And we have, sometimes you'll see a yellow circle, that is anything that has to do with some offerings, or any of the news that may cause the stock to pump a little bit higher, right? So this one here is doing a finance, anything financing, merge, and some big stuff, like anything with Nvidia in the news. Also, the stock pumps quite a bit. So that's our scanner for all. And then our VW scanner. This one here is made specifically for our VW strategy, because that one there, we want the best stock selection. I want low market cap. The float doesn't really matter. Institutional ownership, I want that low. I want the short interest to be low, and I want it to have dilution. So that's where this VW scanner comes in. So we have all of it just built in together right there. Now let's have a look at our trades. Okay, so let's on the 20th of April, FCHL Popular Scanner. So this one here did what we call a DV strategy. So this is one of the very specific patterns. Pumps above the VWAP, goes below the VWAP, hugs the the SMA 200. It pumps right back up. Green circle. So when you see that red, orange, green, this means not a trade, might be a trade, is going to be a trade. It's just a matter of when. You take your position on the close below the VWAP. So this one here closed below the VWAP right here at 66 cents. I entered, and it tells you how many shares to enter. So that's what's cool about our indicators. They're very systematic, especially the DV and the EXT. Those ones there, as soon as you get the label, you wait for this candle to close, you enter. So it tells you, right, so you go right here, you put your account size and your trade size. So I do 10% of my trade size, and it tells you, and you can also pick your exits, right? Do you want exit the following day at 10:30, or you can also do, for example, same day at 19:55, and it will change your cover over here. So it tells you where to cover. So this is really cool. So I like just next day, I just put 10:30 like this, and I usually cover the following day. So right now I'm doing a trade the pool account, and with trade the pool we have no locate fees, and I have no overnight fees, so I can take advantage of the stocks following the following day. So this one here was a huge win. So essentially, we got in at what, 0.66 all the way down to 28. So this was a nice win of roughly 56%. So that's $2,875. That's based on a $50,000 account. Next, we had ENVB. So this one here actually did two of our strategies. So you can tell, red, orange, green. And the nice thing about this is that in our scanners, so I only have my Discord turned. I don't even look at the charts all day. I actually trade while I work. So I have a seasonal business, so I'm outside working all the time. The only downside to it is sometimes I'm in some no reception area and I can't trade. But right, look, the stock pumped 40% right here. I get an alert on my phone. Once that happens, I just go like this. So this on my Discord, right, will say, hey, ENVB pumped. So if it shows in the scanner, in the 40 all scanner, I set my DVEXT alert, and if it's in the 40 and in the VW, I set my VW scanner alert. So it would be like this. You come like this, you would go DV alert, EXT end on the bar close, create that alert, and you will also create another alert for the VW. So essentially, I would have gotten an alert here, right, because I see a color change. So the VW is whenever this dot changes color. Okay, so essentially it goes from red to yellow or red to green. And on a VW2, I want to wait for two pumps. So here's pump number 1, it comes down. Pump number 2, close below the VWAP. So your entry is on the following candle. I'm just close this candle here. Boom. So this is my entry. This is on a VW2, and we do have some rules on a DV that it trigger a DV on this candle right here. So you have entered on these candles here, and because I take this as a VW trade, VW stands for VWAP, and the DV is for a double VWAP, so up, down, up, down. The VWs you cover at the end of the day, and a DV you cover the following day if the locates or the overnight board fees are not too expensive. So this was a nice win of $948. Then we have ARTL. So this one here was a VW1. So essentially the stock pumped, right, 76%. So at the 40 mark, which would have been right here, this would have popped in our $40 scanner and our VW, which means that I would put alert for when the color of the dot changes and the alert for the EXTDV, right? So it comes up like this. This changes color in the zone right here. Doesn't have to close below for this to change. It just has to be below. It could be here for a minute and a half, right? Because we're trading on the 5-minute candle. So I can set up my order, and as soon as it closes, boom, short, and and you'll see that everything is systematic. Once you short, it tells you where your stop loss is. So once I'm in, I set my stop loss at 832, and then I put my phone away, and I let the trade do its thing. And most of these stocks will fade. And as you can tell, right, I entered here. It came up, retested the high of the day almost, and it just faded, and it tanked all the way down to 434 for a nice win of 1,150. I got too many zeros here. Like this. Sorry, too many ones. For $1,152. Next on the list, WLDS. And like I said, they're all in these VW scanners. So if I were to go back here on the 20th and the 21st, you will see them there. You see like WLDS is right here, right? So there's the VW, and it would have been on the 40 all scanner. And then ARTL is also right here. In VB. So sometimes they will pop on here and they just won't do the strategy because either A, they go straight up and they come right back down hard. These ones here, they need to literally just look at my indicators and tell me when to get in and when to get out. So this one here would have been a $2,500 win. Right, this candle pops here, 100% of this candle here. This one here shows a green circle. This is a VW1, so you enter on the first one. We don't need to wait for a second pump. On a VW1, you take it on the first pump. On a VW2, you take it on the second pump. So we're making this super, super simple. Okay, so I enter here, it comes back down, right? So this is what we call the midpoint, this yellow line. That's the middle between the VWAP and the SMA 200. For some reason, this here is a very good resistance area. But nonetheless, it's just a matter of time before it crosses it. So it comes back down, it comes back up, and halt down below the SMA 200, below the current monthly pivot, and cover at the end of the day at 126. So from here down to 126 is a 50% win. This was a huge, huge, huge win. Then we have this one here, LOCL. This one here pops up. This was our scanner. It did a VW2. So pump number 1, it comes down, comes back up. Pump number 2, close below the VWAP. This is the close. This is your entry right here. And this one here unfortunately did not fade, but we covered at the end of the day for a very small loss. Paper, little bit paper cut. And it's just hovering in this range here. Then we have XRTX. Same story with this one here. It pops, it goes on your scanners. When that scanner pops on your Discord, on your phone, or while you trade on your desktop, it's up to you. You just set your alerts. So this one here, I set my DVEXT alert. I see red, yellow, orange, green. Then you wait for the next close below the VWAP, which happened to be the following candle. So I entered here at 293, and you cover at the end of the the following day around 10:30. So this was a small win of $614. HCAI, same thing here, right? It pumps on our scanners. We've been up in this area here. You set your DVEXT alert, red, orange, green. Close below the VWAP on this candle here. It will tell you how many shares to enter. Oh, for some reason, I'm not sure why this here should have been like this. Oh, 10. Save as default. Right, so this will tell you how many shares to take, 444, and then you cover at the end of the 10:30 the following day for a next win of 1,158. Now, the reason why we have no labels for the VW trade is because the VW2 is not as systematic. It kind of is, but you still have to use a little bit of you kind of have to know the pattern, because you have to take that second pump, and that's why we can't do the labels. However, in the settings here, I do have the labels for myself, and we have a big warning here that says don't use the labels unless you know what you're doing, because I just don't want somebody entering on a trade that is not supposed to be a trade because they see a label. But on a green label, you get in right away, right? So you get in, boom, that's your entry, and your exit is at the end of the day. The only time this label doesn't look pretty is when you have something like this. The VW2s, they just don't look pretty with like all these labels here. So essentially, I enter once and I turn off my label. It just saves me from having to pull out a calculator and do 10% of my account. So we try to make this like as easy as possible. Okay, so we look at this one here, HCA. Now W buy, this one here, yeah, see the VW1. You will see it that it is in our Discord as a VW trade. Just a matter of finding it here. Yeah, see there's XRTX. W buyer right here. Singapore, low market cap, flow, it's fine, everything's fine. See the cash positions in the minus, that means they're pumping because they need to raise some money to keep operating, and they have a little bit of offering. As long as one of these is orange or green, or ideally all green, it's a trade. If they're both red here, it will not be a trade. It will actually look something like this. If they're both red, we put double reds, means big red flag, no dilution. So we keep things super simple for you guys. Stock pumps like this. You set your alerts for the DVEXT and VW, which is a dot color change, right? Something like this, right? Dot color change. So as soon as this changes colors, you'll get an alert when it's below. You set up your limit order in the pre-market, and you enter on the close below, and you cover at the end of the day for $1,111. This is one of the trades I actually missed. Busy with family on this one here. Then we have this one here. Let's fix this here like this. Like these settings here are for my my trade pool account, which I will show you after. So AKN, this one here is actually a cannabis stock, and we don't trade cannabis stock, but I did not notice that it was. And this one here is pumping because of I think they changed the schedule on weed now in the States or something like that. They want to pass a a bill or something, so that's why this is pumping. So we did what we call a PCT trade. So this here is based on a certain percentage that it pumped, and then we got stopped out, re-entry, stop out. So 2 losses here, but the following day it did a DV, right? Red, orange, green. Enter on the close below, and you cover at 10:30, roughly the following day, if the overnight board fees are cheap. And this would have been a win of 1,662. So it would have recovered this full loss and a little bit of this one here. But this one here should not have been a trade because it is a cannabis stock, and we're actually going to incorporate that into our scanners. So very shortly, our scanners here, it will say if it's a cannabis stock, and it's going to be a double red flag, means don't trade it on a especially on a PCT trade, because a PCT trade is like you're taking a chance on the way up that it hits that percentage and it comes right back down. As you can kind of tell, like it hit this right and it came down, but it pumped right back up and got stopped out. But end of the day, cannabis, no trade, because that's mostly based on news, not so much bumps and dumps. AUUD, this one here was a VW1, 2 stop outs. However, in our Discord, we know a pattern where if a stock does a reverse split, which it did right here, okay, and is a nano float. So if you look at the Discord, let's find AUUD, right? $500,000. So this is a nano float. It needs cash. It's got a lot. Everything on this one here is green. That means that they're going to pump the stock to dilute it. Guess what? That's exactly what they did. Now, when it's a reverse split nanos float, I told the people in the Discord, I made a mini lesson. Do not take the trade on the first close below the VWAP. So this green here is not a trade. However, in my spreadsheet that I use, I am going to include this just because technically it's a trade. But this is one that you would have to like analyze a little bit more. Nonetheless, okay, let's say this was a loss here. Then you would have entered on the following one right here. Boom. You would have been wicked out right here, unfortunately. Not by much, but like, I don't know, 60 cents maybe. Yes, 70 cents right here, which sucks. And then it did a DV trade on this close below the candle right here. You enter your 79 shares. So this is let's put this back to the 50K account like this. Oops. So this is 1,053, and you cover the next day at 10:30. And this is why I like the following day. This is a huge offering, just crashed it, and this would have been a massive win of $5,454. And if you look at our entry, which is 712, roughly all the way down to 194, this is what, a 72% win. Right, so this is a huge win, and right now it's just gonna fade down right back down to zero until it has to do a reverse split. Now SKLZ, this one here, same thing. This is actually a alert that we got in our new DE trade alerts. If I look over here, I got this alert on my Discord without even putting the alert on my phone because I didn't think nothing of this, and I was busy with my kids, and it came out like this. Boom, I get a notification on my Discord saying, hey, a trade's setting up on SKLZ. Perfect. I see this label. Let's just change this back to the 50K. Account size, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Like this. This is our trade size, 10%. You enter on the close, which are on the open. This one halted, so you would have entered anywhere in this area here. And then from here, you cover the following day at 10:30 if the overnight board fees are not too expensive. And that's why I like Traded Pool. There's no locates and there's no overnight fees. And at the end of the day, if a stock goes high and blows up your account, you're only losing whatever you paid for your evaluation, which at 25K is $100. So you can take these trades and you just enter here, close out here, 1350. This is a nice little win. And the last one last week is ENVD again. So this one here, a couple days prior, did a DV strategy, which was a nice win. And then over here we have a VW1. So a halt, 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 goes, climbs up, closes below the VWAP on a green circle. You enter on this here, and you cover at the end of the day for $1,350. So according to this, last week, based on a $50,000 account, so if you would have done $5,000 account, obviously it would have been 10 times less. So this one here would have been $135 win. But we were just under $14,000, and we have a 7% account growth just in that 1 week. So over here, I have my spreadsheet. So we track every single trade that we trade, right? So all of our trades are all right here. And like Bird was one last week that hurt us a lot, but nonetheless, Bird is a real company. At least it was at the time. It made shoes. It's a real company. These were not trades, but just to show you guys that this system does work systematically. If you were to trade every single signal that my Discord gives out, you would have made 84% so far this month in April. On our profit tab, I'm not sure why this is like this. What am I missing here? I'm missing this box here. Get rid of this. So if we were to have a look at this here, yeah, that's good. And then our wins here, I'll add this one right here just to keep it updated for you guys. So our profit factor for this month is 3.3. If you're looking at March, we're looking at, we had a 68% account growth. If you were to take all these trades systematically, this is very simple. If you're DV, EXT, you just set your alerts and you just take the trade. And this is based on a $50,000 account doing 10% entry. Okay, and January was a 60% month. So very good numbers so far. If you like what you see, just head over to Discord, hit me up, give me a chat, and we can do a live chat of this screen share, and I can show you guys around what we do. So let's have a look at my Trade the Pool account real quick here. Let me just log it in here real quick. Now with Trade the Pool, there are rules that you have to follow, so that's why your account doesn't grow as fast, because you want to make a little bit of a buffer. So you start with a smaller account, smaller trade size, and as you get some wins, then from there you can increase your trade size. Because what happens is, even though you have like a 7% loss, you can lose all of your profits, and then it's 7% from that. So let's just pull up my Trade the Pool account right here like this. So it is funded. I'm just waiting to get my profit. So I'm at $1,500 in profits right now, and I need to get $2,500 for my first payout, which is going to be really nice. Once that payout happens, I am going to do this all over again with a either 50, because I can do a copy trading with a 50 and a 25, or I'm just going to go straight up to the 100,000 and just systematically trade this strategy with a $100,000 account. Now the only downfall to Trade the Pool is that it closes your account out at 350 automatically. So if I were to go here, you'll see that a lot of these losses, they not necessarily a lot of losses, but they get you out at 350, right? So, and then you have to re-enter. So these two trades here, I got out at 350, even this one here, and I re-enter these trades because I want to have that the following day at roughly 10:30, right? So you have to re-enter these trades. But like for example, today we had HTCO. This is another one of those, you know, big market cap, cash positive, there's no dilution. Like this is just, it wasn't an optimal trade, but I took it anyways because of all the halts. So this here, right here is the EXT. This was actually the PCT strategy that stopped us out. These ones here are just some, you know, it halted to a missed monthly pivot. It was a gamble play, as you can tell. You know, only did 5 shares. These were gamble plays, but the one that triggered our strategy is this one here, and we had an EXT, which I covered at the end of the day. I just didn't want this thing to go back up tomorrow in the pre-market, just because, like I said, it's a real company, and so it recovered my losses, so I'm fine with that. And then I'm just in SGMT until tomorrow morning. I'll cover that market open. So that's it for this video. You know, I'll be very excited once I get funded here, and I can open up my other account and do the challenge all over again. If you like what you see here, like I said, these strategies, I make them super easy. It will pop in the scanners. You set the alerts. When the alerts goes off, you take the trades, and then you cover wherever you're comfortable. Some people don't like trading the after hours. Cover before. You know, Trade Zero now has a stop limit order in the pre-market and the after hours, so it is now safer. And the reason why I say safer, because the stock can still go, you know, 2,000% in one candle and may blow up your account. Is the days of short selling, but I haven't seen that yet, where it went that crazy. so nothing to worry about. And at the end of the day, it's all about risk management. You do not YOLO in short selling. You have to do it safely, and it's just gains after gains every day. Slow and steady wins the race. You will not see a short seller go on Reddit with be like, hey, look, I YOLO 50K, I made 300, and then I'm gonna YOLO it again, and then you never hear back from the guy because he lost it all. So, anyways, head over to Discord, hit me up if you have any questions, and we'll see you there.